Thank you, Mark. Sorry that I forgot that this was a satsang day. Uh, you know, I'm long retired, and every day is pretty much the same as the day before. I don't know what day of the week it is, hardly any time except on Sundays when I can hear a Sunday church bell or something like that. So forgive me. You know, I've been doing spirituality now for close to 70 years. Spirituality is incredibly complicated because of all the differing views out there as to what constitutes spirituality. Zen, Republican, uh, Buddhist, Christian. And each one teaches interrelated but separate things. Some confuse exotic things like fasting for a year is what spirituality is. And the teachers are all 70-year-old monks. But what I find is mostly spirituality for most people is a belief system. It may be a hard one belief system that took 70 years to develop, or that of a 12-year-old who wouldn't be coming here anyway. And in my point of view, spirituality is first of all an escape from the mind. You can watch this. You can watch your body tighten up once your mind has an idea or an argument to throw out. You'll feel tension with it, maybe in several parts of the body. So if you stop thinking, I guarantee you'll relax. I mean, there are occasions where you won't relax, like somebody holding you at gunpoint, or after just coming in outside of being beat up for half an hour by somebody. But for me, it's been a progressive learning of independence from the mind. Spirituality, to me, is about what you feel. And most of all, if we check ourselves, our thinking is always about existence. We feel our bodies. We feel the tension that certain thoughts create or sounds. But a monk typically, not saying that you're monks, but a monk in any spiritual tradition, I don't know about some of them, but the ones where meditation is practiced, spirituality tends to be about beliefs in God, Satan, heaven, good and bad, right and wrong. It's like there's a field of thought that lies between I, the perceiver, and what's out there. I take in the data from out there in the form of visual phenomena and auditory phenomena and smells too. And I make what I will with it. And everybody does this to a certain extent, various times of the day. But the more you practice meditation, the deeper you feel like you're descending into your own beingness, your own body, and the beingness within the body. And when you can do that routinely, as you will it, you feel a great deal of freedom because you can just sit for 5 or 10 minutes and not have a thought in your mind. And you'll understand eventually by sitting and meditating that lesser is better than more. Fewer thoughts, not more. Fewer beliefs, not more. Instead, you collapse the universe of your feeling to your body and what you can see on the floor right in front of you. You see, there's nothing really to think about. So what a lot of people do to avoid this emptiness state, they start thinking, even while they're meditating. Learning to meditate is a learned process. But when you've done it enough, it can easily descend on you when you will it. And immediately with the dissension, you'll feel things washing away from your body, like words, thoughts, tension, pains. They all fade. I, for one, have chronic ringing in my ears. I've had it as long as I remember. So for me, now, for example, when I relax, I hear a loud ringing in my head. And it's almost like telling me that you're home now, Ed, that you're being feeling when nothing else is felt or heard. The ringing is there. Also, the darkness. Of course, the light is shining in my face. All that there is light. And the red, the blood I see through my eyelids when light is thrown on them. But as you learn how to relax and sink down into your own body, you reclaim it. Because most people spend much more time in their minds or in watching television or some other hobby. When you get to the place where your beingness is coextensive with your body and yet own the entirety of this mind-body mechanism, and sink into yourself so deeply, you'll find that you feel ecstatic. Things come and go. Sensations come and go. An itch here and there comes and goes. If you have a sore throat or a headache, it will tend to lessen because the underlying aggressiveness or tight mental stuff you're doing in your head is not causing a compensatory tension in the body. You can relax like I am doing now. It's not meditation yet. But once I turn my eyes around, my inner eye, and look backward into my head, and then peer downwards to my chest and my butt, my legs. It's like a wave of bliss flows through my body. Because now, mostly, I feel the emptiness. And you might say, the bliss of total relaxation. Sitting in full lotus is the steadiest posture I've ever found. When I sat in full lotus at Mount Baldy, within 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, I would just disappear. I, as a human body. And there would just be a one world of perception with no separation between inner and outer. I could I could be this way for about 40 minutes before my mind would get a little foggy. So generally we'd sit for 20, 25 minutes. And then when the clackers rung, we'd get up and do walking meditation inside the Zendo or outside if it was summertime. You can get so used to the calm and a sense of surrender we feel because every time we sit down, we give up the body. We give up the mind. We just become their witness. And even the witness disappears. We never know what happens during those intervals later. So there was nothing memorable in them. But the general feeling is, at first, there's a strong heaviness as we focus attention on our bodies. We feel weighted down. We feel nailed almost into a sitting position. And there's no movement. The position's so balanced and harmonious. Along with the disappearance of mind, complete happiness arises. And then it fades away into nothingness also. Until we come back 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later. So what do we experience during those 15 or 20 minutes? Well, there's some big differences. There were monks at Mount Baldy who'd been there for years. And they'd never experienced emptiness. The Prajnaparamita Sutra says form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Feeling, thought, and consciousness itself are like this. Emptiness underlies the forms we encounter in our experiences. We know that we come from emptiness. We know the universe is made up mostly of emptiness. Planets and suns are only a small amount of the volume of the universe. And when we're fully submerged into our experience of our bodies, we become very, very grounded. One can get the feeling as they're going into this area of total relaxation. And it's so sweet that it begins to feel like a kind of bliss. And the more you sit, this blissful happiness seems to permeate. I think Eddie's going to vomit. Yep. Any cat odor knows that sound. Where was I? I distracted myself. But what I could say is I've never, ever been happier in my life than I am now. It's not so much the world that has changed, but I've dived into myself hours every day for close to 60 years, maybe more. I was always just hanging around the edges of existence in terms of doing very little except being introspective. And the introspection itself, watching from within, which also seems to involve not seeing with your eyes. You just see the orange light of light going through your eyelids. But there's a sense of being totally surrendered to what's ever going on around me. And that sense of surrender is so constant. And with it, a feeling of emptiness, an emptiness within. I look into my chest and I can see nothing, of course, but it feels like I can see something. I feel my presence within and around everywhere. That's the starting point for many religions, is learning how to feel what you feel like on the inside, what the life force feels like, what your life force feels like. Everything slows down. The world sort of winks out. And the world of the light of meditation goes on. You're immersed in your own world, your own body. There could be an explosion and it wouldn't disturb you. You would register it as any other thing that's happening in your body or beyond. Because you're not any particular object anymore. You're the entirety of the whole thing. So as such, anything that goes outside can be perceived with indifference, even though the concepts may come up after meditation. You'll have problems then, but not much. Imagine The world that you think you live in doesn't really exist in this consciousness. All that exists are you. Anything from the outside is just noted and not acted on. Now, why, people may ask, would you want to do all this meditation? Well, because I don't have anything better to do. If there was something that was really putting a bee in my bonnet, I'd be doing that, but mostly I don't have a bonnet anymore. I'm kind of indifferent to what happens around me. But I know how that sounds, and it's not really that way. But it's like anything that happens outside is also happening inside of me. So there's nothing to be frightened about, worried about. Because I and the world are one. And in fact, it's my contention that we can sink so far down in ourselves that there's nothing for the remaining self to perceive. And thus, nothing to disturb your feelings at the bottom of this world. And the feelings at the bottom of this world are of relaxation, surrender, quietness, and bliss. Now, what is it good for? Well, it's good to share in satsang, but it really doesn't help you in your everyday life that much. But it's a place you'd rather be than in your everyday place much. Because the meditation results in happiness and ecstasies and all kinds of mental phenomena that you have to learn to tolerate or ignore or to pay attention to. And you'll tend not to react the minute something happens around you or your computer exploding or whatever. Because you're so close to total happiness in the bliss of just having descended into yourself in awareness. There's a deep state that I've descended to. And yet, My awareness appears to be everywhere, within me and with all of you, even though I can't see you. I know you're there. And the best thing I can do is to share the state with you, telling you how to get there. And tell you meditation is never harmful, only when it's being done with a great deal of force, where you work on it like you're working at a crossword puzzle, but even harder. That's not meditation. It's hunting. So in meditation, you're learning how to give yourself away. And by that, I mean the reactive self that gets upset when something is said to it, or from something it sees in the world, or being punched in the mouth. In this state of energy and attention withdrawal into one's own self, there's nothing but different degrees of happiness. Feel yourself within. Sit with the eyes half open, preferably facing a wall, maybe with the candle. And just progressively relax into yourself. When thoughts come, don't try to stop them. Just let go of them. Pay them no heed, ignore them. And you'll attain the same thing as if you had found them and were immersed in them. There's only oneness in this experience. In the beginning, you'll fall asleep a lot and get angry with yourself when you wake up and realize you've been asleep. Sleep is the nearest thing to that state of immersion in yourself that I've been describing. You can practice this almost any time. But it's best practice in a place that's not too loud or chaotic. No, in various levels of this state, there'll be a time where you can only feel what feel like electric currents flowing inside the body. Or similar, not like. And you can actually swim around in your own sense of presence. with just the basic deepest feeling of our own self. All things of the mind are useless in the last instance. The closest and deepest truth you have within you is the feeling of your own existence. Not how that seems to change depending on your concentration and relaxation. I feel like I'm both embedded in the earth, but also 10 feet above it. It may sound strange, but so many strange things happen when you practice meditation. You're reading the life force directly with this meditation. You're reading the life force as it manifests through you. No more concerned with the things of the world. but only concerned with what's inside. What's inside of you as an experience, as an object. Mm. Mm. Okay. Come on back. Ascend into your forehead, into your brain, and feel the energy go into it. How do you feel? Bueno or no bueno? See, there's nothing really learned. It's about letting go of everything, including learning. I love spending this time with you, even though I had forgotten all about it, because I never know what day it is. No questions, are there? Okay.
Reggie, what happens on Sunday? Sunday is daylight saving, but Arizona doesn't observe it. I mean, everybody, the rest of the world goes ahead an hour.
Yeah, we don't change.
Okay, I probably still won't find it, but thank you.
Is
Yeah,
that is it
you
about
just
that
come
time?
you just come an hour later if you're in the time change like most people are. You come an hour later than you have been coming starting Sunday.
Oh, so like 3 o'clock for you, Mark,
Yes,
and me,
exactly. On the
Oh,
East
good.
Coast, it's
Okay.
3. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't change for Ed.
No, I'm the center of the universe.
That mean you get to sleep an hour later, Reggie?
Yeah, I get to sleep the same amount.
Uh,
Okay. Love you all.
Edgy, can you take a look at if you get when you get a chance to my email?
Okay.
Thanks.
I will. Bye-bye. I'll look at it. I won't answer it.
Please respond.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.